No. That looks cool. I'd really would like to use that, but I think I want to go with a standard poster, not the IMAX one. Tempting, because I'm kind of immature at points, and I know what that's a metaphor for, but I don't know. Do you guys really want to see Deadpool's crotch throughout this whole review? I don't know. We'll just go with this poster, because I can't think of anything else. Here it is, the long-awaited Deadpool movie, starring Ryan Reynolds as the popular anti-hero, Merc with the Mouth, Deadpool. The movie is basically an origin story and follows Wade Wilson, played by Ryan Reynolds, who is diagnosed with terminal cancer that he's going to die of. So he and his girlfriend are trying to figure out a way to fight it. He gets approached by some people who say, look, we can get rid of that cancer, and we can give you superhuman abilities and make you practically indestructible. So he says, all right, let's do this. And while the cancer is gone and he is indestructible and can't be killed, let's just say he also looks ugly as fuck.
You look like Freddy Krueger face-fucked a topographical map of Utah.
So now Wade Wilson has taken on the name of Deadpool, has a badass red suit, some katana blades, and some guns, and is out on personal revenge to get the guy who made him the way he looks. And things get elevated up a notch once the villain gets a hold of his girlfriend. Little backstory. The first time the character actually popped up in a movie, technically, was X-Men Origins Wolverine. I reviewed that movie in 2013 when The Wolverine was getting ready to come out in theaters. To put it simply, I hate that movie. I absolutely hate that movie. I thought it was the worst comic book movie I've ever seen until Fantastic Four came out. But I thought it was just terribly written, uninspired, boring, and above all, it ruined a really cool character, Deadpool. And for a character that's supposed to talk constantly and be funny, they sew his mouth shut during the finale and make him basically the villain. And it was just a total train wreck. So ever since the X-Men series progressed, they've been slowly phasing out this movie from existence. Like X-Men First Class recast Emma Frost and set it before X-Men Origins Wolverine. The Wolverine, which was supposed to be the sequel to X-Men Origins, ended up being a follow-up to X-Men 3, and Days of Future Past, for being a time travel movie, basically rewrote history so that X-Men Origins Wolverine doesn't happen. So basically, I'm less harsh in that movie because they fixed the damage. Except for Deadpool. They have yet to really apologize for Deadpool. Until now. When I think of the character of Deadpool, this movie is pretty much how I imagine the character. And it made me go to everyone's side who said Ryan Reynolds is perfect for that character, because truth be told, when I first saw X-Men Origins Wolverine, I didn't know who Deadpool was. And I was like, God, Ryan Reynolds in this movie is terrible. What are these people saying about him? But this movie really proves that, yeah, Ryan Reynolds is the man for the job, because Ryan Reynolds, I think, is a really funny actor. He has great comedic timing. He can deliver great lines. It's just, his problem is he keeps picking mediocre scripts, so he really never gets to show his true talent. Deadpool allows him to show his talent, and he absolutely nails this character, from the fourth wall breaking, to the immature humor, to the violence, to being self-aware. This is Deadpool to a T, and man, this thing is so good. I mentioned the plot, and it is a pretty generic plot. But in the comics, with Deadpool always being aware that he is in a comic book, I never expected a Deadpool movie to have a really complicated plot. I'd expect it to be very simple, because in the long run, this is a comedy. And when you really think about it, with comedies, the important thing is not the plot, but if it's funny. And yes, this movie is really funny. It's got really great jokes. I mentioned Ryan Reynolds. TJ Miller is also really funny as his best friend. And he's probably the closest we're going to get to a Bob, Agent of Hydra character, because, you know, legal reasons, you can't have a Hydra agent in the X-Men universe, at least in the film universe. But we'll see how the rest of the series goes if they make a Deadpool 2, which I hope they do. So we'll see what happens with TJ Miller. But he was really funny, and I thought he and Ryan Reynolds did have great chemistry. When you think of a comedic superhero movie like Guardians of the Galaxy or Ant-Man, those are very family friendly. This is hard R. This is not something you take your kids to. Yes, there are X-Men in it. Yes, it does have the Marvel logo on it. But it is not made for kids at all. So parents, just because you see X-Men in this movie, just because you have Colossus in there, does not mean it's really appropriate for your kids. There's people saying shit and motherfucker a lot. Motherfucker! It's really violent. There's a lot of sex, a lot of blood splattering, a lot of nudity, a lot of sexual innuendos.
I'm touching myself tonight.
And for the ladies out there, you do get to see Ryan Reynolds naked, but you really gotta squint. There must be a better way to say that. Whatever, moving on. Bottom line, it's not a superhero movie for the kids.
You're probably thinking, this was a superhero movie, but that guy in the suit just turned that other guy into a fucking kebab. Surprise, this is a different kind of superhero story.
Now, I mentioned the plot's not very important, but one thing that I found really interesting was that it's an origin story, and it tells the origin not necessarily out of order, but the origin is told within the opening action sequence. It's like, action sequence, boom, flashback to the origin. Further scenes in that scene, boom, origin story again. So I think it's a neat way to tell the origin story, and it makes the movie go by that much quicker. I thought the pacing was really well done. And much like with The Force Awakens, by the time we got to what is the final act, I was like, damn, are we already here? I thought this was the middle of the movie. But I think that's a testament to how well this movie is made, where you never feel the time go by. And all the other actors do a good job. Deadpool is the heart of the movie. He's the funny one. He's the one who's aware he's in a movie. Everyone else, just like they should be, act like they're in a real superhero movie. They play it seriously. Some of them do have comedic moments here and there, but they aren't like Deadpool. They don't know they're in a movie, where Deadpool does, so it's a perfect translation of the comics. Now, I hate to do this, but I do have some small problems with the movie, the keyword being small. I mentioned that the plot is very generic, nothing special, but I've already talked about that. One thing that I thought was very generic was the villain. He's basically just some generic British asshole, and he does serve his purpose within the movie, but there's nothing really special about him. He's not like a Magneto or Loki or anything. He's not a super memorable villain. He's just a British asshole, not much to it. And maybe this is based on expectations and nothing that the movie actually did, but there were parts of the movie where I didn't think it was as funny as I was hoping it would be. I mean, I still laughed a lot, but some reason I thought the movie was going to be a little more outrageous. But again, that's just me going by my expectations and not what the movie actually presented, because with what Deadpool is, I laughed a lot, and I laughed hard.
Have you seen this man?
It's a really fun time. It's violent. It's hilarious.
That guy was up there before we got here.
I love how it fits within the X-Men universe, where those movies are PG-13, yet this is hard R. It's just an absolute blast. If you're a fan of Deadpool, Fox has officially redeemed themselves and delivered a movie that is true to that character. And not only do they make fun of that version of Deadpool in X-Men Origins Wolverine, but they also really make fun of Green Lantern beyond what you saw in the trailer.
Please don't make the super suit green. Or animate it.
And it has my favorite end credit scene since the best end credit scene of all time. No, not that one. No, not that one either. That one. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Deadpool is definitely worth seeing in your lifetime. It has a generic plot and a cliched villain, but what this movie does right, it does really right. It's got some really fantastic action sequences, the humor's there, the violence is there. Comic book fans are gonna love this, and I definitely can't wait to see it again. And that's my review for Deadpool. I can't wait to hear what you guys think of it when you see the movie. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Don't forget to check out my official website, and go follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, and Periscope. This is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one.